Hi yogis, Katy here in Elgin, Texas at Body and Shine Wellness. This month's videos are focused on side body lengthening and strengthening. And in this tutorial, we are going to work on side plank. If you have knee issues and you think you might want to come down to your knees for a modification, I would grab a blanket or like a small pillow or something. Otherwise, you shouldn't need much. So we'll go ahead and get started here in a second. All right, yogis, we'll go ahead and get started with our side plank tutorial. I was just talking with Adrienne and we both agree. I don't know that anyone likes side plank. So this is not one that's like top of the charts requested, but a lot of times, we need to work on the things we don't like. There's a reason we don't like them, and it's usually because maybe we're not doing something right, or we're not sure how we're supposed to be doing it, or we don't know ways that we could make our lives potentially easier and not just be stuck suffering in side plank, right? So hopefully today we get to like at least side plank a little bit more potentially, or just not hate it as much. I'll settle for that. So when we're doing side plank, couple of reasons people hate it so much. Typically it's because it makes their joints in their arm uncomfortable. So they say, my wrist hurts or my elbow hurts or my shoulders hurt. And that's because we're not aligned properly. So what tends to happen when we're shifting, typically the transition is from like a high plank to a side plank. You tend to, whoops, I'm gonna move this blanket. You tend to kind of roll to your side and roll back. So we end up with the joints not stacked. And so that's why we feel, ooh, there's a lot of pressure in my wrist, or there's a lot of pressure in my elbow, right? Because we got this little like angle going on in our arm, and you've got a lot of your body weight resting there then, and it starts to put pressure wherever your joint is maybe already a little compromised, or if you have a past injury or something. So thing number one is watching for stacking our joints in a line like you would in a regular plank, right? So if you're doing plank pose, you're stacking your wrist, your elbow, your shoulder in one line. Same thing in your side plank. The other reason that I see people kind of hating or suffering in side plank is the hips. So when you do your side plank, you want to think of your body like you would in a regular plank in like a line, like a plank of wood, right? So if you have a plank of wood, it's not like kinking and caving in the middle, right? So what tends to happen is in our side plank, even if we've got our joints nice and stacked here, we're not engaging and we're sinking, right? And so we're like, oh my God, suffering because you're having to hold up all this weight, and oh my gosh, right? And it's putting pressure on your spine and on your hips, and it doesn't feel good, and I don't blame you. So if that's happening, we need to work on building up core strength. Or if you have the strength already, actually using it, okay? Sometimes we just get a little bit flustered, we're moving too fast, or we're just not thinking, right? So we forget to engage our core. So keeping the core really engaged, or if we don't have that core strength yet, again, joint stacked, staggering your feet, so giving you a little bit more area to press into your legs so you can keep those hips up, or coming down to your knee. Okay, so this is a good one if you are working on building core strength, if you have back injuries, stuff like that. I've seen it where people come down to the knee like this. To me, I couldn't even look up when I did that. All right, to me it's a lot harder to balance like this. I don't know that I don't want to say it's necessarily wrong or you're going to hurt yourself. I just don't know how much of a favor you're doing yourself, to be honest. So if we're already kind of, having a hard time in our side plank, I would make your shin of your leg that's down a little more perpendicular. And that way you still get the experience of kind of balancing on one side, and you're still using, the strength of your shoulders to help hold you up. You're getting this length through the side of your body, but you're not quite struggling so much, right? So those are some things to think about in your side plank. Also, making sure we don't rest in our wrists. So just like you would in a regular plank, bringing some weight into your fingertips, keep your shoulders really active, keep your belly really active. And then once you kind of master, having your knee down, then maybe you try staggering the feet, then maybe you try stacking the feet, but always keeping in mind, shoulders, elbows, wrists, stacked and safe. And just like you're a plank on its side plank, go figure, your body is in one nice line. So if that means staggering your feet, coming down to your knees, making those adjustments. So anyway, hopefully those are some helpful tips for side plank. We do it in this month's flow video if you want to get a little bit more practice. Otherwise, take those tips. Let me know if you have questions, and we'll take some requests for next month too if you have them. Thanks.